What's going on? It's Astronaut H, and this is the What More Do You Want Network. Now, in this video, I will be discussing tonight's game between the Chicago Bulls and Cleveland Cavaliers. And of course, if you watch any video like this in the past, you know that this is my Bulls report. Now, the Bulls are coming off a loss versus these same Cleveland Cavaliers over the weekend. So basically, tonight was their way to look for a sort of a bounce back. Now, on the Cleveland side of things, they did not have Evan Mobley or Darius Garland in this game, but of course, you still have to worry about guys like Jarrett Allen, of course, Donovan Mitchell, Kevin Love, Karis LeVert, who's more than capable of scoring. Now, on the Bulls, it was the usual suspects that you've seen from Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Ayo Dosunmu, Alex Caruso, Patrick Williams, Nikola Vucevic. I believe the only players that were inactive tonight was Javonte Green and, of course, Lonzo Ball. Now, to start the game, you did see DeMar DeRozan come out and get the first basket of the game. It was a three, which let me know he was looking for his shot very early in tonight's matchup. But the Cavs were getting in the paint and to the line early. And that was an onset of how the game basically went. But DeMar DeRozan was getting to his spots early. You did see Zach LaVine being aggressive in the first quarter and also Vucevic getting in the paint. Now, the fouls by the Bulls were just sickening at one point. But in the first, they were fouling, and the Cavs were taking advantage of it early. You also seen Patrick Williams hitting the three, and the Bulls were in the penalty halfway through the first quarter. And that's how I knew. I'm like, okay, the referees, the whistle was leaning towards the Cavs at the onset of the game. Now, the Bulls didn't let that damper their runs in the first. The Bulls did go up, 34-27 after the first quarter. But you also seen more fouls by the Bulls in the second. DeMar DeRozan started where he ended off in the first, looking for his shot, getting to his spots. But you've seen some good minutes from the Bulls bench. Now, the Bulls did end up going up by 10 in the early part of the second. Now, you did see defense to offense by Chicago, which led them to being up by 15 points in the second quarter. Also, you've seen guys like Ayo Dosunmu being aggressive. You've seen Patrick Williams getting steals, ball movement by Chicago. And you've seen some good offensive rebounding. The Bulls' lead grew to as much as 18 in the second quarter, and the Bulls were up. The Bulls put up 65 points in the first half. Now, this is basically where I felt like the game shifted on in the second half. Not only did you see turnovers by the Bulls to start the third, the referees started calling calls that were heavily favored in the Cavaliers' direction. Between the calls and between the Cavaliers going on a run, they got all the way down to, the Bulls were up at one point by 20. You seen them cut the lead all the way down to 9. Then you seen second chance points by the Cavaliers, which was a problem. No Evan Mobley, but still guys like Kevin Love and Jarrett Allen was still crashing the offensive glass, getting rebounds, second chance points, and that was a telling story. You did see the Cavaliers put up over 30 points in the third quarter, but the Bulls were still up. The Bulls were still up by 5 to close the third, which was 96-91. Now in the fourth quarter, this is where you basically seen the Donovan Mitchell show. He put on a performance for the ages to close this game. Basically, everything that Donovan Mitchell did, the Bulls were countered. It was a counter punch. For everything that Donovan Mitchell did, the Bulls were countering, whether it was Zach LaVine, whether it was Vucevic, whether it was DeRozan, Ayo, the Bulls were right there on the cusp of everything that Donovan Mitchell did in tonight's game. The Bulls had a reaction towards it. It never was a scenario where you saw Donovan Mitchell in the fourth quarter do something and then the Bulls didn't come back. Now, the Bulls were up late in the fourth, but again, offensive rebounding and things like that caused the game to be closer than it should have been down the stretch, which ultimately led to fouling. It was a lot of fouls at the end, but also, like I said, Cleveland just stayed a course in the game. Then you turn around and Donovan Mitchell was on a scoring rampage in tonight's matchup. Like, it didn't matter who was in front of him, he attacked. It didn't matter what defense they played, he attacked. And in the fourth quarter, you seen Mitchell go to the line late. The Bulls were up, and he was at the free throw line, and he misses. He gets the rebound, sort of like Luka Doncic did in the game versus the Knicks, and he tapped it in, and he got the rebound, but DeRozan did have a chance to end the game in regulation. Got the ball in a great spot, missed it. So, okay, we're going to overtime. You're going to overtime at the game is tied at 130 points at this point. Get the overtime, and I'm like, okay, let's see what the Bulls do. First basket of overtime, it's a three-pointer by Donovan Mitchell. So the Bulls, backs are against the wall to start the OT. The crowd is in it. Billy Donovan he has them playing sort of a zone. They come down on offense. The Bulls shoot a three. They miss. Cleveland comes back down. They shoot another three. They make it. So the Bulls are down 6 at this point in overtime. So I'm like, okay, they are still in the game. Now, this is where in overtime, Donovan Mitchell took over. The Cleveland Cavaliers scored 15 points in overtime to the Bulls 4, and that was ultimately the game. Tonight, the Bulls did lose in overtime, a bad way to lose, 145 to 134. Donovan Mitchell did end tonight's matchup with an astounding 71 points. The man shot the ball 34 times and went to the line 25 times. He literally could have 75 points in the game. That's a fact. But ultimately, Donovan Mitchell ended up with 71 points, the most points in a regular season game since Kobe Bryant. Man, a performance for the ages, if you ask me. As for the Bulls, you seen DeMar DeRozan put up 44. Patrick Williams with some good minutes. He had 10, 5 rebounds. Vucevic with a double-double, 20 points, 13 rebounds. Zach LaVine with 26 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists. Good minutes from Ayo, 11 points, 5 assists, 3 rebounds. Dragic didn't do too much in his minutes. He only had 2 points. Alex Caruso, who fouled out, did have 4 points, 2 rebounds, and an assist and a steal. Tonight made 12 straight games with a steal for Alex Caruso, which was a good thing to see. You seen Derrick Jones Jr. come off the bench with 6 points, 6 rebounds. Kobe White didn't really have an impact, but he did have a 3. And he was 100% from 3, and he went 1 of 2 from the field. You also seen Andre Drummond in limited minutes, 6 points, 4 boards. And the Bulls did, fall for the 21st loss of the season. So now they're 16 of 21 for the year. Like I said, man, this game was one of those games where I feel like the whistle didn't go the Bulls' way late in tonight's matchup. The Bulls had opportunities to close the door on this game. But when you're playing a team like a Cavaliers who didn't have all their players, they did not have Darius Garland and they did not have Evan Mobley, but they did have, like I said, a player like Donovan Mitchell who's a superstar, who's capable of putting on performances like he did tonight. And ultimately, that was the game. Even if Donovan Mitchell scored 35-40, the Bulls still win this game. But he ended up with 71. And like I said, that was a performance for the ages. The Bulls have to bounce back after this loss, and I believe their next game is Wednesday against another really, really, really hot team right now, which is the Brooklyn Nets, and that game will be played at the United Center. It's an 8 o'clock tip-off, so I'm definitely going to be here to talk about that game with you guys after everything wraps up for the post game. Of course, my insights and reports on what I saw in the matchup. Again, and I didn't talk about Zach's performance tonight. Zach LaVine played pretty well tonight. Vucevic played pretty well tonight also. But, of course, the headlines are going to read all about DeMar DeRozan's scoring performance, which was, you know, a great, great, great thing to see. But, again, the story for the game is Donovan Mitchell. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Bulls fans, Cleveland Cavaliers fans, or if you're just an NBA fan that's tuning into the channel, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you can know anytime a video is being uploaded to this channel. It's Astronaut H. This is the What More Do You Want Network, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.